All right, guys, so I spent most of the afternoon trying to get this little bastard out of the upper control arm. This is the bushing that sits right above the axle. And I tell you what, I have never been so frustrated at little bushing than this guy right here. Now, I still got to do the passenger side. This is the driver's side that sits above the actual differential housing. And there's a few other guys on YouTube that were just as equally as frustrated as I was. In fact, I kind of laughed at, they were so pissed off. I kind of chuckled. It was so funny, just their anger and frustration, right? Well, I tell you what, that's for real, man. This is no joke. So I want to share with you guys my little secret. All right, you guys, so today we're going to be installing the upper control arm by Metacloak. And so first of all, shout out to Bobby down at the Metacloak for, just really taking care of the Wagon family. I really appreciate you guys and just a great customer service. And I just love supporting my local company. And I'm glad you guys are local, by the way. So getting that bushing out is really no joke. I would never do this again, I don't think. I think next time I'm going to take it to shop and just let them deal with replacing that bushing. I'm not sure what they would charge me, but the amount of time I spent on that thing and fighting that bushing was a nightmare. And I went on to other YouTubers and they all had the same problem I did. Now that we got the bushing out on the driver's side, I still need to do the passenger side. That's going to be another day. We are finally ready to get our upper control arm put on the driver's side. Now I'm doing this one side at a time. Just real quick here, the instruction is 5 pages. The actual instruction itself is really the last 2 pages, and 2/3 of it are images, okay? The other 3 pages are disclaimers, some tools you might need, and some spec sheet about the actual control arm. So let me go through with you guys some of the specs on this upper control arm. This is an 1.5" DOM tubing by Metacloak. These are their infamous, what do they call this, joints. These are Kevlar infused Duraflex joints. And I love one of this verbiage they use down here in the description. These are, so they say that these are self-centering, vulcanized elastomer joint that is enhanced with DuPont Kevlar fiber. So that sounds pretty scientific. But all I know is that this has one of the most articulation of most control arms out there. And these are also serviceable, so if these things ever go bad on you guys can just replace the joint itself, which is nice, and keep the really nice DOM zinc coated bracket that will withstand, according to them, to a lot of elements, salt, rocks, whatever you throw at it. So we'll see. Now they do provide their own anti-seize in the box, but I just like this stuff right here. Ooh. Okay, center of the eye to center of the eye, 18 3/4, a little bit too much. Now theoretically, if you do this correctly, measure it all out, make sure the length is correctly, you may not need to get alignment afterwards. But it never hurts to get alignment. Okay, so there you go, that's how it's going to go. This is going to go into the towards the firewall, and this is going to go towards the axle. Alright guys, so we got driver's side down, now we're going to do the passenger side, and I have a feeling that this side's going to be much easier. So here we go. Alright guys, so we just finished up this upper control arm project, and I gotta tell you, on a scale of 1 to 10, this was a complete shit show, 100. Now actually installing the upper control arm was a piece of cake. No problem whatsoever. The metal cloak went in perfectly. Without a hitch. But since we were replacing the control arm on the upper control arm, we also decided to, well, I also decided to replace the bushings that sits on the top of the axles on the passenger and driver side. And we installed these Moog bushings. Seems to be pretty popular. These are really cheap. It's it's about 14 bucks each. So that's what we did. And really a couple of main takeaways from this video that's going to help, I think, you guys out tremendously. So I hope that this will be the main takeaway of this video, is getting these bushings out. So step one, take your ball joint press and just press out the rubber piece. This comes right out like butter, no problem. And then you're left with this metal sleeve that's inside the housing. And to get this out, you can try and use the ball joint press, but I tell you what, I think that you guys are going to have a really hard time pressing it out with the ball joint press for a couple reasons. There's just no room up there. When you try and get the ball joint press up on the top of the differential housing, it doesn't sit square. It's all cockeyed, and you just can't get a good bite on the inside. And the diameter and the thickness of this sleeve is so small, and you're just going to be fighting it. Believe me, you'll be fighting it. And I watched several other videos, some funny videos. The guys were just getting freaking pissed, and you know, and I agree with all of them. It's a shit show. It sucks. Another guy, Matt from Bleepin' Jeep, he took an air hammer and hammered it out, and for him it popped right out. But for me, I mean, you guys can see where I try to hammer this thing with the air hammer, and it was just jumping everywhere. I couldn't get a good bite, so I ditched that plan. And then I decided to cut the sleeve on the inside at the 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and that was the key. Once I did that, I took a chisel and a hammer, put it right there, and this thing came right out. And that's exactly what I did on the other side, the passenger side, and so that made it way easier. The other one came out I was done in 15 minutes, whereas the driver's side, it took me hours. So learn from my mistakes. Hope this will be helpful for you guys if you guys are changing out your bushing on your upper control arm. All right, so I'm exhausted. As you guys saw earlier, when I started this video, it was nice and beautiful, hot and sunny on a Saturday, and now it's dark. And it was, I'm just glad that it's over. Anyways, I just want to say thank you guys for watching my video, supporting my channel, and I'm gonna go get some food and some drink. Until then, we'll see you guys in the next video.